Introducing the all-new BYD Sea Lion 7, the luxury electric SUV that's changing the game. Book your free test drive today at the BYD showroom in Sheffield.
Dr. Steelhammer, Vladimir Klitschko, and Dr. Iron Fist, Vitaly Klitschko, Shannon the Cannon Brigg, and Butterbean, Cruiserweight King Jai Opetaia.
Boxing King Media powered by BYD. Mr. Gareth A. Davies, fresh from Easter weekend in Birmingham.
Indeed, was very good. Fresh from bare knuckle in Cardiff and a bruiser in Birmingham. It was a very interesting weekend. Cheers, by the way. Cheers. Little tipple.
Yeah, you definitely get about Gareth. From bare knuckle to Ben Whittaker. I don't think I got a prediction from you, but I'm sure you will have done some interviews elsewhere. What did you predict going into this fight?
I thought Ben Whittaker would look really good technically this time and be in and out quick and would land heavier shots, which he needed to do anyway, and get Liam Cameron's respect early on. But he set that right hand up very well and hurts Liam Cameron. And, that's all she wrote. Howard Foster stepped in and it was over in the second round.
That's pretty much how it went down. But initially, when they made their ring walks, that one thing Ben Shalom gets a lot of stick, and he's had loads from fighters, promoters, rivals, etc. But he packed out that arena last night because that's the job of the promoter, isn't it? And I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen that arena that packed out ever before.
I think the 10 and 12 round thing helped as well. I think there were half the arena seemed to be, it was very loud, the booing of Ben Whittaker when he walked in. There was huge support there for Liam Cameron, and rightly so. I mean, he's a heroic, he's a folklore figure. He's on his second life in boxing, and he's an admirable man, and we all have deep time for him. But yeah, it was good on an Easter Sunday. They'd had success a year ago on Easter Sunday as well, on the bank holiday, with Fabio Wardley and Frazer Clarke, if you recall. That first fight was on a bank holiday and it worked really well. Maybe it's going to go down as one of those weekends that it's unmissable for boxing. And yeah, it was a really good atmosphere. The ring walks were great. I remember noting at the time Liam Cameron bouncing on his feet, looking like darkness under his eyes, looking so focused. And he was clearly looking to take Ben Whittaker late into the fight and was looking to absorb his punches early on and demoralise him and go to work maybe in a couple of rounds' time. But unfortunately, he got caught by a set-up shot. His legs went. He got caught by two body shots. Then he retired into the corner and Ben Whittaker let loose 7 or 8 punches, and Howard Foster had seen enough. I think Liam was hurt. My instinct, because you'll ask me, my instinct at the time is that it wasn't premature. I thought he was hurt. But there'll be a lot of people unhappy that we didn't see it go a little longer.
What did you make of, I'm going to get to the ending of the fight, but Ben actually getting booed by, I'm not going to say the whole arena was booing him, but that was quite a surprise. But you know what I noticed? I don't know if you picked up on this, but he got booed when he walked out. But as soon as he started dancing, I got the feeling most of the boos just kind of started joining in because they kind of felt the whole thing with him. And he kind of just silenced them with the dancing.
He balanced it better this time. He was in and out a little bit more. Sometimes it looks like his jabs are a little bit powder puff, but
I'm on about his ring walk.
Oh, it was fantastic. Oh, it was fantastic.
Him getting booed.
Well, I mean, I just think it adds to it. I love it. I love the theatre of it, and the confidence of the guy to play the villain, and put it all out there, and when people are booing you, when people love to hate you, you win them over in the end by winning, and that's what he did on the night. And also, I mean, to go to after the fight, we saw him break down emotionally and be human and say, I've been carrying this on my shoulders for 6 months. Even people he called family, saying, that he was unhappy with their relationships. I don't know what he meant by that exactly, but maybe not feeling the support of people that he needed at the time. I mean, his dad, Tony's there, he's a fantastic fella. And as I said to his father at ringside after interviewing Andy Lee and Ben Whittaker, was that the huge social media following, the people loving to hate him is only going to make him more famous and more money, and people might want to see him get beaten because of his flash brash style, but ultimately if he keeps on winning, those people turn. It's the 10-80-10 rule. 10% always love you, 10% always hate you, and the 80% swing in the middle, depending on what's happening. He's a superstar in the making. And I think what he did show last night was he's got genuine power against a very, very hard man.
I definitely agree with that, Gareth. And with regards to the stoppage, I'm trying to delve into it a bit, but nobody from Liam's team's got any complaints. And I know Lee Eaton's gone on. He told me last night. He goes, "I'd rather it be stopped early than stopped late," which is quite a good point.
No, it's the point. I mean, Lee is spot on. You never want a brave corner. And in many ways, you don't want too brave a referee. You'd rather be 10 seconds too early than 10 seconds too late. You could be split on the. It was one of those subjective moments where you could be split on the optics of whether you've genuinely felt he was being hurt. I had an angle like this, and I'm two rows back with the TalkSport broadcast, and I'm watching it intently. And for me, I thought Howard Foster, I had my instinct was when Howard Foster stopped the fight, I didn't have an argument against it. He may have been able to go on longer, but I thought he was going to get hurt.
Fair play. The ending happens. Obviously, we see that bit of a reaction from Ben where he went up to Grant Smith. I think Dave Caldwell and Johnny Nelson had a big debate about that moment. I think Johnny's argument was that's the built-up frustration. He's letting it out. And I know Grant made up with Ben after the fight, and he confirmed that Ben did not spit at him as well, because that
was good to know. Yeah,
because people were thinking that happened, but Dave said it was disrespectful and basically it shouldn't be happening. So, what did you make of that whole situation?
Well, that's a trainer speaking, isn't it? Where he knows what they're going through in the corner, the frustration of the game plan not working out, of not expecting to be caught heavily like that by Ben Whittaker, who set the shot up perfectly, by the way. So I get what Dave's saying, and I get the fact that, when the fight's over, he'd won, and so there wasn't a need to sell anything at that point. But it was genuine relief, I believe, at the weight lifting from his shoulders and the adrenaline inside him. He might look back on it himself and think, "Oh God, I overdid it there." I'm glad they clarified Spitgate, that it wasn't a spitting incident. But I think when Caldwell's reacting and when Nelson's reacting in that moment, I had the same when we were reacting, the broadcast team at TalkSport with Spencer Oliver, with John Rawling, with Adam Catchell. We've all got different views on it in that moment, and they are just views. But I do see both sides on this. Just as I tried to interview Liam Cameron and was ushered physically away from him.
I heard about that.
Yeah, but there was nothing wrong with it on both sides.
He was trying to do a job, and his manager was trying to look after him.
Yeah, exactly. And I spoke to them afterwards, and they were a little bit unhappy about what I'd done, which was literally go as he passed our broadcast station with the microphone, and I got bustled out of the way. But I get their point of view, and I spoke to them about it afterwards. And I said my reasoning was I just wanted to see if Liam had any unhappiness about the decision, and that was it, to put out on the broadcast. And they were saying, could you have spoken to him 15 minutes later? And I said, well, it was just in the immediacy of the broadcast. Listen, I feel for them, and I want them to know, and I told them so afterwards back at the fight hotel. I really understood their position in getting between myself and Liam and not wanting him to be interviewed at that moment. They have his best interests at heart, and I get it. And all I was trying to do was my job, and that was it,
Indeed. I was lucky enough to speak to both of them at the end, and Ben Whittaker did say that he felt annoyed at himself for his reaction because he did want to.
There you go.
So he did say that.
Yeah, listen, look, Liam Cameron is a folkloric figure. He's on a second life in boxing. I'm glad he got an extra wad of cash for, and I hope it was a big one for the lessening of 2 rounds from 12 to 10. Whittaker proved himself on the night, and you know, it's a very difficult process, because if we'd had a long, torrid fight, there would have been a different discussion about it, a different argument around the event. But the controversy was, did Howard Foster step in too soon, and would Ben Whittaker have hurt him more, or would Liam have recovered and countered with punches? I do understand people who think it was premature, but the fact that the team aren't arguing about it and they're not appealing. Remember, George Groves appealed against referee Howard Foster against Carl Froch in their fight in Manchester, that it was stopped prematurely. And we got an 80,000 event at Wembley, if you recall, in whatever it was, 2014. And 6 months of enmity between the two men while the appeal was ongoing at the IBF. So, you know, it is what it is now. And I'm glad no one got desperately hurt. I'm glad it's been clarified. But in the moment, pure drama. I do think, as Andy Lee told me, and he will have told you, this kid's got so much potential that he's working with Ben Whittaker, and he really does believe he can go all the way to the top. One thing that he proved to me last night is that he's got power. He has got power, or he can set the right shots up for the sweet spot.
Yep, definitely agree. And talking of early stoppages, there was some debate about the Frazer Clarke stoppage. Did you agree with that stoppage?
Yes. And I was delighted for Frazer Clarke as well, because he took a couple of shots. Even Ebenezer Tete is an awkward, difficult opponent. I did agree with the stoppage because I thought Ebenezer was out, and I don't think he realised he was out, which is why. Who's it? Is it Mark Barker? No, Kevin Barker was the referee. I think Kevin Barker was the referee. And Kevin Barker looked after himself very well, as did head of security Clifton Mitchell, into the ring to calm down Ebenezer Tete when he had 2 or 3 attempts at going back for a go at the referee. Did I agree with it? Yes, I did, because I thought he was hurt. Frazer hits very hard, we know that, and you know, it's heavyweights, so you don't want to see them taking too much punishment.
And it's the quickest he's ever been stopped, quicker than Daniel Dubois did it as well.
Yeah.
About 18 seconds. Big statement.
It's great to see Frazer back in the circus, back in the big time, back in the win column, and back on the horse in terms of the orbital injury in the second fight with Fabio Warley. So delighted to see that.
He wants Joe Joyce, Dillian White,
David Adelaide.
Yeah, but I think the big money fights are probably Joyce or White. Can you see that happening?
Absolutely, I can. You know, these aren't the world title fights that he wants, but they're the second tier events that will definitely generate very good crowds like we had last night, and give them decent earning capacity.
And then lastly, Eubank Ben, are you going to be in full steam ahead from tomorrow?
Oh, I am. That's why I'm having a tiny little tipple of tequila tonight and an early night. We've got 4 late evenings: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, tomorrow and Wednesday we're in East London, 6 p.m. start. So these things tend to go on late. Really looking forward to it. I think there'll be a few shenanigans this week, but both of them will be focused on what damage they can do to each other on Saturday night at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I still see Eubank as a significant favourite in the fight, but Ben dangerous early.
All right. Let's see if you change your mind as the days come closer, Gareth.
It may happen.
Yep. Let's see if you can be swayed by either party.
Indeed.
Or a glass of whatever you're drinking there.
Tequila, of course. You know.
Of course.
Tequila and double apple vape.
Definitely. Well, we'll do something in person, mate, if you're allowed this week, and we'll speak then. And yeah, should be good night. It was a good crowd last night as well, and yeah, so we'll speak later in the week.
Lovely. Great to see you as always. Thanks for having me on.